In September 2023, experienced climber Ryan Foster began a solo ascent of Raven Peak, one of the most remote mountains in Scotland. The climb wasn't particularly dangerous. The weather was clear. Visibility stretched for miles. Ryan planned to reach the summit before sunset and return the next morning. By late afternoon, he was approaching the final ridge when something caught his attention. Near the summit stood a small red tent. At first, he wasn't surprised. Other climbers occasionally camped in the area, but the closer he got, the stranger it seemed. The tent stood on a narrow rocky ledge barely large enough to support it. No climbing ropes, no equipment, no footprints, nothing. Ryan checked the surrounding area. The ground was covered with a thin layer of fresh snow from the previous night. The surface was untouched. There were no signs that anyone had climbed to the tent. No tracks leading toward it. No tracks leading away. Yet the tent looked new. Someone had placed it there recently. As the sun began to set, Ryan called out, "Hello." No answer. He called again. Only the wind replied. The tent's entrance was closed. A small camping lantern stood beside it. The lantern was lit. Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. Someone had to be nearby, but there was nowhere to hide. The summit was completely exposed. He slowly approached the tent. The lantern flickered. The mountain fell silent. Then, from somewhere inside the tent, he heard movement. Ryan stood frozen beside the tent. The movement came again. Slow, quiet, as if someone inside had just shifted position. He took a step closer. "Hello," he called. No answer. Only the wind. After a few seconds, Ryan carefully opened the tent flap. The tent was empty. No sleeping bag. No backpack. No food. Nothing. Only a small notebook lying in the center. Ryan picked it up. The pages were damp and worn. Most were blank. But one page contained a single entry. It was dated the next day. Ryan frowned. The date hadn't happened yet. Beneath it was a short message. Heavy fog after sunrise. Leave before 8 a.m. He checked his watch. The weather forecast had predicted clear skies for the entire week. There was no reason to believe the note. Still, something about it felt wrong. Ryan looked around the summit. The mountain was empty. The nearest hiking trail was miles away. Who had written the message? And more importantly, who had left the tent? As darkness settled over the mountain, Ryan decided to spend the night near the summit. The notebook remained beside him. The warning stayed in his mind. Ryan barely slept. At sunrise, he stepped outside his shelter and looked toward the horizon. The sky was clear. Not a single cloud. He laughed at himself. The note had been wrong. Then he checked his watch. 7:58 a.m. A cold breeze swept across the summit. Within minutes, thick fog began rising from the valleys below. Ryan watched in disbelief. The mountain disappeared behind a wall of white. Remembering the warning, he immediately started his descent. The trail became difficult to see, but he managed to reach lower ground safely. Later that afternoon, he looked back toward Raven Peak. The summit was completely hidden by fog. Weeks later, Ryan returned with another climber. The red tent was gone. The lantern was gone. The notebook was gone. No sign that anyone had ever camped there. Yet Ryan still keeps one photograph from that day. A picture of the summit taken just before sunrise. Near the edge of the ridge, a small red tent can be seen above the clouds. The end.